All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to our webinar. I reckon we can slowly kick things off as we wait for some more people to join us. It's my great pleasure to see new faces among us as we will be presenting today's topic to those who might not have yet heard of MicroStrategy or simply have other BI solutions in place or perhaps none whatsoever and would like to have some more information on what is out on the BI market, specifically MicroStrategy. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Rusmir Čulić, and I'll be your host today. I'm with my colleagues from the sales and marketing department here at CRMT. I just want to do a big shout out to the whole team who made this webinar possible and also to our partners at MicroStrategy. Please feel free to get in touch with me on my email or my LinkedIn account as shown on the screen in the bottom left corner, and I'll be glad to get back to you. So as you can see, we're going to talk about why and how to migrate to MicroStrategy analytics platform with our guest speakers. I hope you enjoy what we have prepared for you. But let's leave this for later because, as I said, most of you are fresh faces and might not even know anything about us. So allow me to breeze through in a few minutes what CRMT is all about. CRMT was established in 2005, and we are an independent IT consultant company based in Slovenia, and we are offering strategic IT services and solutions in 4 core business areas. We have been steadily growing ever since 2005, so today we have around 35 to 40 consultants who work on 4 different areas of expertise, those being data management solutions, then we have regulatory reporting and CPM solutions, as well as RPA, which is the newest addition to our portfolio and is catching momentum. We have more than 85 customers with roughly 300 successfully finished projects, and we are present in the Central and Eastern Europe, predominantly in Slovenia and the Adriatic, but we also extend our services to customers in the UK and across the sea in the US as well. Some of important customer references come from the banking and insurance industry. Shown in the top row here are some banks such as SID Banka, Sparkasse, SKB Banka, Nova KB, and AIK Banka. Then there are some major insurance companies from the region, as you can see in the third row, like Zavarovalnica Sava, Zavarovalnica Triglav, and some big players in the manufacturing industry, such as Slovenian Steel Group. Then there's A1 Slovenia and Telekom Slovenia from the telco industry, and others from energy, retail, and public sector, just to name a few. Our solution portfolio is comprised of independent best-of-breed technologies for each area of expertise. If you take a quick look on the IT architecture on the right side, you'll notice data warehousing, data governance, integration, and quality, as well as master data management and BI. So basically all of these areas here are covered with the 5 solutions that you see here on top. Then we've got corporate performance management, which is this part here that we cover with our partners from Wolters Kluwer, with Tagetik, and of course, as mentioned before, robotic process automation with robotic AI, which works, or let's say sits on top of your IT infrastructure on the process level, so it's not shown in this overview on the right side. As you know, RPA mimics your daily repetitive tasks, and then the installed software robots do those tasks for you. So with the getting to know us part behind us, I would like to announce our upcoming webinar on an increasingly important subject, which is why data trust and quality matter. This is for all of you who are directly involved in the process of managing the quality of your data. I will make sure to send you the invite in our thank you email after this webinar. And then ask us anything. I can't stress this enough. We do these webinars for you guys. So please, if you have any questions for our guests, let us know in the chat, and we will address them during our questions and answers section. So what can you guys expect from today's topics? First, we'll hear from Kasper Vasiak, Associate Account Executive at MicroStrategy, who will tell us why Gartner put MicroStrategy as #1 BI tool for enterprise analytics and is still the only truly enterprise-ready BI tool. Then we'll switch over to Slavko Kastilic, co-founder and chief sales officer at CRMT, presenting a few customer stories. And then we'll go ahead to our second customer story from Slovenian Steel Group, which migrated from Oracle to MicroStrategy. All right, guys, this is all from my part for now. I'm happy to invite Kasper to the Zoom stage now. Kasper, the word is yours.
Thank you very much. Very nice to meet you. So first of all, let me share some slides and let's start with the MicroStrategy presentation. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me, for having this chance to talk a little bit on MicroStrategy. I'm together with my colleague, Przemek Magiera, who is our technical expert and will also give us some opportunities to dig deeper into the technical questions if there are any. So if you have any product related questions, don't be afraid of asking them. We will either in the chat or at the end of the session talk about them as well. But today I wanted to have a little bit different view on MicroStrategy than what we normally do in terms of the webinar. So most of the webinars work like that. We have a certain product, we show this product, and then we try to show you what this additional value of this given product is. But today I wanted to switch those things around, and I wanted to start with the value. I wanted to show you when MicroStrategy is this tool that could give you assistance, that could give you this addition perk to your BI tools, to your BI world. And of course, I am the salesperson of MicroStrategy, so although I would love to be objective, I will never be objective. I will always talk subjectively about MicroStrategy. And this is the reason why I like to start those presentations with the objective third-party presentation of BI market as such. And here I would like to focus on two different areas that we see. So looking at the results of Bark, looking at the results of Ventana, we see that MicroStrategy gives you a lot in terms of the product experience. So the business value to the end users that already use MicroStrategy is very well recognized by our customers. So once MicroStrategy is already introduced, it is very easy for us to get this value from the tool. And we pair this product experience with #1 enterprise analytics according to Gartner critical capabilities. And I think that this #1 in enterprise analytics is one of the most important things that we get. Why? Because this is the mission of the MicroStrategy. We don't want to be beautiful visualizations only. We understand that showing the data in the right way, in the right format is very important for digesting the data, but this is not enough for the enterprise level analytics. We also need to remember that strong performance engine is something that is very relevant to have the BI experience at the right level. And MicroStrategy combines those two ways of doing business intelligence. So it combines the modern analytics, the cutting edge technology available via mobile, via web, via our augmented tools like HyperIntelligence, and pair this with the very strong performant MicroStrategy semantic layer, giving you a lot in terms of the governance, security, also giving you this very performant engine, easy to scale, and giving you this opportunity to build the whole reporting infrastructure rather than having a couple of visualizations here and there. And I think that this is very important to understand in the very beginning. So if we were to understand, if we were to describe what the BI market currently looks like right now, we can divide the current BI market into two types of platforms. On one hand, we have those traditional BI platform vendors with the metadata-based solution, with a very broad offering that you can choose from many varieties of options. You have a lot of options to do management of the data, data governance. But if you take a look at the interface itself, you will see that those solutions are pretty archaic. You need a lot of experience. You need a lot of knowledge in those tools to create those pixel perfect reports. And I believe that this was main reason why we saw on the market new data discovery tools. So I mean all of those self-service type of platforms where you can just drag and drop and create those quick in 5 or 10 minutes reports without any knowledge of SQL. And those platforms are very good in terms of giving this quick time to value. But they also have some challenges, especially in this background. So they do not offer you this metadata-based layer where you can govern the data, where you can give those all of the additional perks that are so important at the enterprise level analytics. And we as a MicroStrategy, we try to give you the best of two worlds. So on one hand, we understand that this is very important to give you quick to use self-service, ad hoc analysis, giving you right value with your data, and not forgetting about this second part, about this background, about this backend of the solution with the strong semantic layer that gives you this enterprise level analytics. And now I wanted to talk a little bit about how this converts to the normal customer interactions that we normally have with the accounts where we enter with our solution. What we normally see, what we normally witness is our customers or the prospects that purchase MicroStrategy, until a MicroStrategy arrives, have the stack of the tools. They have the metadata-based layer, so they have the metadata-based solution, and on top of that, they have some data discovery tool with quick self-service. So they have a set of the vendors because only this stack of the tools gives them the characteristic of the BI that they require. And with MicroStrategy, we streamline this situation because you don't need a set of the tools. You will only use MicroStrategy because it will give you this holistic approach to doing business intelligence. And now the second example of also how a lot of customers perceive the BI. They say, we don't need this metadata. We don't need this semantic layer. We only need quick and light self-service. This is enough. And this approach is very often present, but we also need to remember that this gives a certain threats to our reporting. So how such a reporting looks like? We have a data set, we publish the data set to a server, and then on top of this data set, we just build the visualizations. However, if we have more than just one reporting employee, if they have an access to those data sets, very often they start multiplying, copying, pasting the data sets, and very quickly we have dataset version 1, version 2, version 5, version 7, version 15. And we have a set of the data sets that should give us the same numbers, give us the same values, but because of those minor changes in the life cycle of the data set, they give us different results. And at this point, we cannot trust our data. And this is the worst thing that can happen in our organization, that we don't know which data is trustful and which not. So now compared how MicroStrategy perceives this problem, how MicroStrategy solves this issue. Well, we make the data independent from the data set. So we take the data out of the data sets and we create the central data model on top of all of the objects that we have. So we create relations between the objects, we create the hierarchies, we create the central semantic logical layer so that we understand what interdependencies between the data are. And at this point, if you want to report on the revenue, you just take the central object of revenue and you don't have this problem with different types of the revenues because there is only one reusable centrally living object of the revenue. And this way you can have always the single version of truth, which I think is one of the most important things in the organization. And now let's talk about some other benefits of having this central semantic layer. The first thing is the data maintenance. So let's compare how applying the change to some objects looks with MicroStrategy and with those vendors that don't offer this central semantic layer. Let's say that we have the BI architect that requires to change some of the object. Let's say that the way that profit is being calculated has been changed and now we need to adjust it. With MicroStrategy, you just take this centrally living profit, this central living object, apply the change, and MicroStrategy engine will apply this change to all of the objects that are underneath. If you were to perform the same task where you have data dashboards being created directly on top of the data sets, you would need to reapply this change to each and every data set. And if you have hundreds of reports, this generates a lot of time and effort by our administrators, but by architects to apply this change. And exact same mechanism works with the privileges. So the same way that we can change the objects from the central layer and apply them from the central perspective, we can do the same thing in terms of the privileges and the users. So let's just say that in our organization, we have the new BI analyst that should have the certain set of the privileges. Instead of going to the data sets and applying these privileges, we can take this person, add him to the group of the BI analysts, and he will inherit all of the privileges, all of the set of rules for this specific group. We can also customize what he sees, what he doesn't see on this central level, and we don't have to reapply this change on each and every dashboard. And now the third very important advantage of having this semantic layer. Very often in the organizations, we have the data that is dispersed between different systems. We have the data warehouses, we have the CRM applications, we have some third-party applications, and data is living here and there. And we would like to report on all of the sets of the data together simultaneously. So instead of having to move the data to the one source, what we could possibly do is we could use this semantic layer as this layer where the data is being unified. So you can leave the data at the data sources that they are currently living at and use this semantic layer as this unification layer at your organization. This also makes the life much, much easier. But of course, technicalities, the backend is not everything for us. We also need to see some good looking visualizations, some good looking products, because this is how we digest the data. We digest the data with our eyes. So let's take a look what MicroStrategy, how MicroStrategy can be digested. And this is the typical self-service MicroStrategy dossier. We can see this very easy view. In the middle we have the visualizations, to the left we have objects that you can hover over on the panel and very quickly, without any coding, create new visualizations. If we want to adjust the objects on the fly, if we want to, for example, create a month out of the day, we can do this on the fly here, and we don't have to go directly to the objects. This way, modifications and some ad hoc changes can be made very easily. Of course, if we want to adjust the graphs settings, this is everything that we can do. But as I said, this is not the purpose of this presentation, to go into specific settings, just to give you a brief overview how easy it is to create new dashboards with MicroStrategy. Now let's take a look how MicroStrategy looks for the consumers. So we have much simplified interface. We only have filters. We don't have all of those objects buttons because we don't care about this at this point. Those are only consumers that can go through the table of content, go through different visualizations, digest the data, go on many different layers of data, select what they want to focus on, and only work on the sets of the data that they are interested in. And something that is very important, the same report, the same dashboard can be also used via our mobile. So it doesn't really matter if you are the office employee and you use your desktop in your everyday work, or you are the field worker that needs BI to be with you on your mobile device. You can still work on the same reports, you can still work on exact same visualizations and dashboards as your colleagues from the office. So this collaboration between different departments, different types of the colleagues is much, much higher. But of course, not all of the employees, not all of the people at the organization want to use business intelligence. There are a lot of people that would just like to digest the data and would want a situation where the data comes to them. They don't have to come to the data. And this is exact what we achieved with hyperintelligence. We have this very easy interface. This is the example from Office 365. We simply hover over with our mouse over the name, surname, and we see in a form of a hypercard, in a form of a card, all of the sets of the data that we prepared for this specific object. So MicroStrategy will look for those keywords at the screen and retrieve all of the information that we prepared for this kind of an object. In this example, this is just an employee, as you can see. The same thing works with normal website. This is for all of the web-based applications. We have a couple of different colors. Those are a couple of different hypercards that we prepared, one for the company, another for employee, another one for product. We get different sets of predefined information that we want for any specific type of an object we have. Also, this is a very good way to make our current CRM systems better. So let's just say that we have the salesperson that works with Salesforce on everyday basis, but there are also other applications where he needs to log in to get those additional pieces of information. Instead of going and retrieving this data from other systems, he can stay in Salesforce as his main tool and get this remaining information coming to him with hyperintelligence. And this minimizes the number of clicks that needs to be done to get the full scope of the information that this particular employee needs. So this is also the very good way to streamline your processes, streamline the way you do your business. And now, as I said before, I don't want to go too deep into any specific topic. I want this presentation to be light. I want this to be easy to digest. So let's just summarize what values and in which areas MicroStrategy gives this extra bit in terms of business intelligence. So first of all, if in your organization you have a stack of tools, if you use a couple of BI tools to meet the requirements that you need, MicroStrategy might be a very good option because we give you more holistic approach of doing business intelligence. And this might be a case that MicroStrategy is the tool that you are actually looking for. Another benefit, those data discrepancies. So this ugly data architecture I was mentioning before with multiple data sets, we can make this much more tidy up with our central semantic graph and this logical layer of data that streamlines these situations. Another situation where we have the data dispersed across different systems, across different data sources, also our semantic layer as this layer that unifies the data together. Also, if the maintenance is painful, if we need to spend a lot of resources, a lot of hours on applying changes or on applying privileges, then MicroStrategy with this central approach is something that can help your business. And of course, we don't forget about the user friendliness. So if you want something that gives you data governance and user friendliness, also MicroStrategy is something that you should consider. And not only for the BI users, but also for the people that until now didn't use business intelligence, but would use this with hyperintelligence, with this augmented analytics, MicroStrategy gives you this opportunity to spread the awareness of business intelligence across the people that don't normally use BI. This is all from my side. Just before I move on to the next speaker, I just wanted to show you a couple of examples here. You can click them by yourself. You can move to our publicly available library, and you can click by yourself through different examples of MicroStrategy dossiers. So you can experience with your own eyes, with your own fingers, what MicroStrategy really is. Of course, I will share this slide so you will be able to get those links available for you. This was all from my side. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions about technicalities, me and Przemek, we are here to help you with anything. Thank you very much.
Hello, Slavko. Here's Slavko Kastilic. So basically, I will take over from Kasper. Kasper, thank you very much for this great presentation. So I think that people that they didn't know about MicroStrategy and think that this is a very complex tool, that they see that it's quite simple for the end user and also for the administrators. So that's why we also have this success, let's say, to convince the people that MicroStrategy is really the best BI platform for the enterprises. And we will just go through really quickly through some of the use cases. One is from the let's say the international market, from the MicroStrategy world. I will just summarize everything because the complete video is available on the link that will be presented, and then a few cases from the region where we compete with Microsoft and let's say the Click or business objects. So first of all, the first company is called Barrell. This is part of the Auto Group. It's quite large group. And the Barrell itself has around 100 stores and 1.5 billion US dollars revenue. And a few years ago, they decided to go strategically to BI. They previously had business objects, sub-business objects, but they say, okay, this is not a good platform. This is not a good enough platform for our complete organization. They had problems with the performance, organization, also in architecture. So here below is the complete video. It's around 1 hour long, and you will see also not just why they decided to go to MicroStrategy, but also how they start the project and this modernization of the analytical system. The beginning, they have two platforms. So first of all, they have sub-business objects, and they purchased a few licenses of MicroStrategy. And they have two rounds of, let's say, implementation. First, they tried to implement it in IT department, but they found out that they also need to do some changes in the warehouse and also to the resources, so basically organization as well. So it's not just replacing the BI. Usually it's also related to other tasks in a complete analytical environment. So what was the goal? So basically they have three goals: modernize BI, consolidate business intelligence, and also build BI team. And what they found out is that usually internally there were not enough people, so they also heavily relied on external consulting services, but domain experts and this BICC, Business Intelligence Competence Center, was internal project. So what did they achieve after the project? They really have a huge number of reports in the business objects, like Kasper said. So basically they copied everything to they have a lot of copies that are practically similar or should be equal, but there was minor changes either in definitions or calculations or something like that, and they finally ended with more than 35,000 reports. And in such enormous number of reports, you cannot find the report that suits you, and usually it just generates another report. So basically it was easier to create new one than use one of the existing ones. So they reduced that, let's say, with this reorganization to 400 reports and dashboards. So practically 100 times less. Then reduced the number of tables that were required for the business objects environment, also almost on the half. And they are supporting more than 500 users with this environment. So what is the, let's say, this was the main achievement. With that, the complete maintenance then was reduced, less people in the IT department support the system. They are more flexible. So this was, let's say, the really good story, but it's not just a replacement of the BI, that, like we will say, also in our environment. So basically, what we did in our, let's say, locally here in the region, we came across with heavy Microsoft user that they're using, let's say, complete suite of Microsoft Power BI, Excel reporting services. Challenges that they had was the knowledge. So basically, they need 3 different groups of people that supporting, let's say, Excel Power BI reporting services. They have problems with metadata and definitions. So basically, this semantic layer is missing in Microsoft, and they really need a lot of programming after that. So basically, especially for these reporting services. Problem was also with the performance and responses because of Microsoft OLAP cubes and refreshing those cubes and so on. So they decided, so basically it was a really long process, almost half a year. So they basically tested really heavily everything and then decided to go ahead with Microstrategy. They increased performance. So basically functionality is better. They are able to do complex analytics now. They can use all those interactive dashboards on different devices. And the best thing is that they have unified platform that can completely support all the use cases. And also price-wise, even though that Microsoft said that this is cheap one, so basically you can really start with with small licenses, but when you go down to enterprise level, then the prices practically are higher than MicroStrategy. But this is also usually it's battle. So what you need to to put in the calculation is also how much human resource would you need to implement the stuff. So basically, it's not just pure cost of licenses. The second one was Tableau user. Also, chain challenges was how to scale, how to let's say control all the metadata. Problem was data quality, and then also trust in the data, responses also, and so on. So basically the same story. Why did they decide it? Also functionality, performance, also deploying everywhere, and also the price. So basically all these enterprise level tools platforms are practically the similar price, but you know, implementation cost is then higher on other platforms when you are not in MicroStrategy. And the third one was a huge insurance company. They had probably, yeah, it's not the right, was that they had business objects and click challenges again, multiple platforms, plenty of programming, especially on business objects, and then again, so basically performance, scalability, and these devices are supported on. So basically, they also use mobile. And it was one of the requirements that they need to all the reports that should run everywhere. So basically on all devices. So one more thing, this slide should be later on. This is important. So basically also to stress the BI platform is just, let's say, part of the complete story. Usually what we see on our projects is that the companies have, organizations have quite big problems with data quality, but not data quality on the reports itself, but how to get the data from different sources, how to integrate it, how to do data quality checks. Integration should run, I don't know, 24/7 now. Every company is now going more and more towards real-time analytics as well. Then master data management is a problem, and so on and so on. So complete data management, data management circle should be covered, not just business intelligence platform. It is one part, important one, especially for business users, but it is just one part of that. and maybe for the wrap up, where we see MicroStrategy. So we are forced, so basically we are working on the market. We are also implementing other platforms. We are representing MicroStrategy. So we know practically all those big platforms, especially Microsoft and Power BI and Click. So we can easily compare, and we can confirm that MicroStrategy is really the best platform for the enterprises. If you have some small projects, then you can also go with other things. But when you are going to the enterprise level, then you need really platform that can support you now and in the future. So so all devices are all supported, and all users also are supported, not just with dashboards and reporting, but also this hyper intelligence is really a bonus now. And platform is really unified because it grows organically, not by acquisitions of other tools. So it's really the enterprise platform. Next steps, I would maybe challenge you to check this link, and we check which platform will suit you best. So basically, according to these Gartner capabilities or critical capabilities, you can check it by yourself or call us, and we can help you. Or if we won't be able to do that, we can always ask our friends from colleagues from MicroStrategy if something special will be needed, and we can solve your problems that you will have. So with that, I will ask Russo to take over and do the rest of the presentations.
Thank you so much to both Kasper and Slavko. So let's just sum it up, right? Slavko, you just enumerated a couple of reasons why customers choose MicroStrategy, and we've just learned that they are basically all choosing MicroStrategy for the same reasons, if we can say so, and that even though they have different challenges. And Kasper, you just told us that MicroStrategy or the BI tools in general are not this complicated thing, that you can see that MicroStrategy is actually really easy to digest, as you said, tool. So thank you both for that. Let's go ahead and allow me to share my screen, because we were supposed to have Emir with us today. He apologized because he got sick, but nevertheless, we have the next best thing with us, and that is a video of him presenting this exact case. So I'll just go over and share this presentation. And I hope you guys can hear the sound. So let me just...
Hello, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to present our case. I think what I will present here today is more of a quick overview of our business case regarding transitioning from Oracle to MicroStrategy. But I think there's some information presented in here that will I think some of you might find useful. So basically, just if I can start off, maybe just to quickly present my existence at the company where I work at. It's called Slovenian Steel Industry. First off, I started off at one of the subsidiary companies where I took care of SharePoint solutions, developing custom applications, crawling under desks to switch Ethernet cables. So my kind of spectrum of workload was quite a plethora. So but when kind of investigating what kind of problems the company was having, was of course a somewhat kind of lack of unified business intelligent kind of system, platform, or organization, maybe a good word. So it was probably my destiny to wind up being a team coordinator for the business intelligence team. So currently, the things I'm working on are all BI and BI related tasks. If some of you would like to connect with me on LinkedIn, feel free to scan the QR code. So maybe next up, the thing that the main topic of today, of course, is to present our transition. Here, I'm going to try to explain when, for how long, and why we actually chose to switch from the Oracle side to the Microstrategy platform. So all of the slides that I'm going to be showing are all post transition. So one of the things that I'm going to present is what kind of business impact, what kind of overall business impact the transition had on us. So maybe one of the first things that we were kind of also as the developing team, we were also we kind of defined our own KPI, which is we wanted to increase the popularity of the BI platform, whichever we chose. And so by transitioning from Oracle to MicroStrategy, we did kind of an internal PR where we sent out email messages notifying people that we have the platform, which caused the users actually to apply for a license. I mean, they applied for access, which caused the increase in user count to go up by 42%. This was really a good figure for us. I mean, of course, like I said, after we transitioned. So this is one of the KPIs. The other one, we had to prepare because of the stakeholders, because of course we had to justify the transition project. We had to prove to them that it is a good thing for us. And of course, one of the aspects we have to prove is the economical impact. So we compared the maintenance costs between Oracle and MicroStrategy, and of course this number was really good and surprising. I mean, not so much surprising, but it was beneficial for us. This is kind of almost the main one that got the project approved. So by comparing, we did the comparison. The comparison we did was we compared the two platforms with the same number of users. So the amount of users that was on Oracle and the amount of users we had on MicroStrategy. We had a maintenance costs reduction by 73. So this is almost 3/4 less maintenance cost. This was something that was also, of course, in our favor. And of course, a few others that we have here. Of course, we also had trouble with development process, which by transitioning to MicroStrategy also went down. For instance, the development cycle times for, I don't know, one individual dashboard went down by a third, which incidentally caused, of course, our man-hour efficiency to go up by 30%. There are also a few other KPIs involved here, but they're not really relevant to the topic. But all in all, transitioning to the platform was caused satisfaction in all the possible fronts. So I mean, from the stakeholders' point of view, and from the developers, and from the end users, I think we satisfied the whole triad, if I may say so. So the KPIs were really in our favor. Of course, the transition itself started in December of 2018, where we were given the task to investigate the platform, what it's like, and of course we had to report back to him on the feasibility of the platform itself. So we kind of took our time. I believe it was about 2 to 3 months. Where we did investigate it. We went back to our superiors and we said, yeah, we do like it. It proved to be quite a good platform. Maybe a few details I'll show you in the later slides. So after we kind of justified the usability, of course we started the transition project, because of course we had a huge task in front of us. We had to migrate everything that was present on Oracle BI and migrate it to MicroStrategy. So the project was a bit of a challenge for us, but of course we had a lot of help from CRMT and MicroStrategy Austria. We had a lot of workshops where we presented our case, we showed them what we have, and they kind of guided us towards a relatively clean transition project. And so we started in April of 2019, and by October 19, I think it was by the end of October 19, we were finished. So sometime mid-November, we basically shut down the old platform. We had not so big transition period. I mean, grace period. So I think it was a few weeks. We had both platforms up, and then later on we shut down the Oracle one. So basically the result, of course, of the transition, maybe just to give you a few figures, like I said, this is a post go live scorecard. What we migrated from the Oracle side were about 180 dashboards. The reason, yeah, we took the 180 dashboards and we kind of estimated how much it would take for us to migrate one of them. So times 180, we did an estimate that we roughly need 1 day for each dashboard. So this is why we estimated the whole project to take place 6 months. So we were kind of off by a few weeks. So all in all, the plan was good. One thing that might be, I don't know, it might be surprising to existing attendees here who already have MicroStrategy. We did all the 180 dashboards. We did all of them using dossiers. We didn't use any reports or documents. This is all tied to kind of our strategy as kind of an IT development department. The dossiers were attractive for us because they are responsive. They are based on the latest standards. We also have one keynote later in a later slide where I can explain this in more details. Yeah, so we had reason to do this only with dossiers, and this is more kind of a organizational / political decision. I mean, this was a strategy on our side. We wanted to declare MicroStrategy as kind of a corporate-wide single point of entry for all analytical purposes. This means that that means an example would be if we were to buy software relating to other fields, not a BI platform. A lot of software that we buy also offers kind of a reporting system and analytical system, which we are now able to kind of stop in its tracks and make sure that all the analytical efforts, regardless of which company and what segment is used, the analytical part has to be done in MicroStrategy. So we kind of managed to make it, like it says here, a corporate-wide single point of entry. So this is also one of the good things. That was, I mean, one of the good changes during the transition. So of course, yeah, the reasoning for the transition, we had to also investigate not just MicroStrategy, but also a lot of other platforms. It's been so long, I can't even remember which ones we all investigated. What I can say is that MicroStrategy was one of them. But the reason why we liked it and why it was in our eyes, in our sense, better than Oracle BI is Oracle BI was. It was for Oracle BI. It's obvious that it's a kind of a compound of multiple products which were developed by several different companies, and then there were acquisitions, and then everything got rebranded into one BI platform, which caused the administration to be quite demanding for some tasks. Whereas MicroStrategy has, I think, about a fifth of the tools in terms of numbers. So it's safe to say that MicroStrategy has a simplified and unified administration tool. One of the tools is the workstation that we'd mentioned earlier. There's also another one called Developer, which kind of encapsulates everything we need, from user creation, to security filters, to row-level security, to data governance, to basically everything. Whereas for an example would be the integration of Active Directory users in Oracle had to be done using 3 tools, and the configuration was basically a nightmare. Here we have a wizard. Basically, it's a matter of clicking next 5 times, putting in the necessary parameters, and the thing works. So the administration is really simplified. The next thing is, of course, MicroStrategy offers a load of connectors to which we connect. I don't know. We can connect to any cloud provider, the local databases we have. We can have Oracle, Microsoft, Postgre. It doesn't matter. It has a lot of built-in connectors, and also it allows you to bring in your own I don't know, ODBC connectors. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the terminology. It's safe to say that it has kind of a open architecture to really connect to basically any kind of data source that we want, which is also a huge plus for us. And maybe this one, like I said, this is something that we presented to management, is of course the technological part. I mean the responsive design, the platform independence. This is all something we as a development team strive to have, and this goes back to where I mentioned that we did everything with .cs. This is the reason why we did everything using that particular report type, because it's responsive. You create it once, and then it's device independent, regardless on which device you're viewing the dashboards. So we put a check mark on all these three things. Maybe, so one example I can show you why we wanted this responsive design is just to show a quick comparison of one report that we had on Oracle and how it looks on Microstrategy. This report that we see here is the one that's used quite extensively. It shows kind of a daily production overview for several main product groups. As you can see here on the top, we have several companies, subsidiaries, and then we kind of created a filter where we just click through the companies, and it's kind of a generic report which shows for each individual company's main product groups. So, and then afterwards, when we wanted to present the same dashboard on the iPad application that Oracle has, it basically had no responsive design. It's basically what you see is what you get kind of style. So we had to scroll around the tablet. Maybe one thing to mention also is the application itself on the iPad for Oracle. They did an update, I don't know, about a year and a half ago. It just kept on crashing also. So the application itself we were unable to even use it, let alone to present anything. So the slide you see here, the kind of unresponsiveness of the dashboards caused us to duplicate our work. So for every important dashboard that was viewed on the browser, we had to duplicate it and rearrange all the components to make it at least somewhat attractive on the tablets. So yeah, next up, what I'm going to show you is the same dashboard we transferred to MicroStrategy. So here is the responsive part that kicks in. So this is the identical dashboard, and here's how it looks on the iPad application. So I think our end users were really bought when we showed them that this could be done. And of course, the development team also, we as the developing team also enjoyed the fact that we had to create this dossier only once. The user then added to the library, and our job is basically done. So this, I think, how to put it? I think that there were some examples where we created a dossier, and some of the things here maybe were too much packed together, but this was also probably not really a best practice from our side to be putting too much information on a single page, and so we kind of solved those things by breaking up a single page into multiple pages, and the user can still easily navigate it by swiping left and right. So, like I said, this mobile part was a huge game changer. It really convinced, especially the management part of the company, because a lot of them don't really use laptops and computers. They look at everything on their tablets. And so by bringing this kind of application to them, where they have a daily overview of production and sales and all kinds of other reports, was something that caused them to give us the thumbs up to really go through this project and implement the platform. like I said, yeah. As far as the transition itself, we did start off ourselves. We installed it, we tried it, yeah. But it was the help of CRMT and MicroStrategy that we didn't make too many mistakes along the way. We really kind of set the standard at the start. We defined where we would have our attributes, our metrics, how we would define the data security, because we have several companies and we have a strict limitation that not a person from one company cannot look at the data from another company. So we had to organize that, which we also managed to do. So we have data security in place. So basically, I hope this was. This made sense to you. I hope I didn't talk too fast or too much. Maybe just to wrap up. Currently, we're still developing new dashboards and everything. But one of the things we're also working on is trying to exploit. I mean, not to exploit, to utilize the MicroStrategy's kind of open architecture regarding customization. As you can see here, the login screen you see here was modified on our site using their customization editor, which basically is an open book. You can practically change everything, and it's all modular. Every change you do is packaged into a separate plugin, so you don't overwrite the existing functionalities. So we're making plans to do some changes ourselves here, which will make the user experience for the user simpler. For instance, here we had to add the logo types because some of the users needed to see where they are and what they're looking at. So this was kind of an example which was really helpful for them. So basically, this is our business case in a nutshell. I would like to thank you really very much for listening. This is all from my side. So I am handing over back to you to CRMT.
All right, guys, I hope that you enjoyed nearly as much this presentation from Emir as I did. And I hope that you guys definitely learned something from this use case. We will go ahead now and check if you guys have any questions so that our guests can answer them. And as a matter of fact, we actually do have 2 questions. So one of them is maybe Casper, this one is for you. So how can we test MicroStrategy? Do we need to download it, or can we test it in cloud? This is the first one. And then the second one goes about hyperintelligence. How does it work, and are there any good use cases?
Perfect. So first of all, let me take on the first one. I hope that you can hear me. This is actually very easy for us to make it possible for you to test. So we have a couple of options here. The first one is in our test cloud, so we can spin off the environment just for you, so that you don't have to set up anything. You can just test what you want, what capabilities you need with MicroStrategy, and we can also, this is the best way to do so, we can invite a CRMT team as well, and together as a team we can figure out what we want to achieve with such a testing phase. And the second option, if you want to download the MicroStrategy, if you want to see how this looks from the very beginning until the very end, this is also the option. I would rather recommend going to our test environment because it's easier for you, but of course we leave it up to you. Right, and now the second option regarding the hyperintelligence. Russo, do you want me to cover this one as well?
Yeah, as you wish, guys. You guys are here from MicroStrategy, so if you feel comfortable with this topic, sure, go ahead. So basically, any good use cases for hyperintelligence, and
right.
What do you suggest? Yeah.
So this is also something that we see increased in terms of the questions asked by our prospects, our customers. And this is also the way I think that this is something that we could mention here is how we can see if hyperintelligence is something that can be utilized in your example. We can prepare some design thinking workshops. We can focus on your exact use case. We can bring our MicroStrategy specialists, for example, Przemek, and we can organize such a brainstorming session where, first of all, we will show you where MicroStrategy hyperintelligence is currently being implemented, and then we can confront this with your use cases, with your processes, and this way we can find out very good use cases. So I think that hyperintelligence, as all of the BI, is very specific to every company, because every company has another processes, another use cases, and this is very good to discuss and brainstorm each solution for your exact business. We see a lot of the examples from our banking and insurance. So, for example, financial brokers, insurance brokers start using MicroStrategy hyperintelligence a lot, especially when having meetings with customers, when they need to get the data quickly, when they don't have time to go to the application and just need to retrieve the most important information straight away. Hyperintelligence is the best use case in those examples. If we are talking about other departments like HR, like finance, those departments when we have a lot of different systems to log in. Also, hyperintelligence is something that decreases the amounts of systems that employees need to use. So this is another use case where hyperintelligence can bring you a lot of benefits.
All right, thank you so much. I think this is going to be great if we just send all of these links. So first of all, the links you mentioned on the demo in your part of the presentation, where they can just go through the demos that are available online. I think it's going to be great if I just put these questions and the answers also in the thank you email for our guests to have. And then also the link that Slavko mentioned about assessing your BI tool. So basically selecting which one is the best for you, and then we can have one-on-one discussions with our guests today.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. So I want to thank you to all of our guests, Kasper, Slavko, and of course Emir, but even though it was just a video, for your presentations. I hope that our guests enjoyed it and learned something new. If you wish to get in touch with us, please don't hesitate to write us an email or just, write me to LinkedIn. We'll be more than glad to answer any additional questions that you guys might have. This was all for today's presentation. Thank you once again, Kasper. Thank you, Przemek, for being here. This was truly a really good insight into MicroStrategy as a platform and as a as a BI tool. So, and Slavko, to you as well. Thank you, guys.